You are live. And we are Huang, and
Heiko, and we are the Essence of Truth podcast.
which is all about the freedom and happiness that everybody want but do not know how to get.
That's exactly it. And in today's session, we talk about why you're already procrastinating, even though you just set your resolutions, you just set your goals, and you were actually taking action towards it, but now you're struggling. It's harder to take action. And so we want to dive into why that is and how to fix it for good. So this is not going to be about your motivation or something like that. We want to go deeper than that. And I think, Wang, you have something really interesting to start with.
Yeah, there's a difference between dream and being convinced and really believing that you can do it. I remember for me, when I was I'm still doing that, of course. Back in the day when I was doing the martial arts, which is the training, right? And when I'm doing the stretching, right, or the form, and I keep doing it over and over and over again and practices a lot. Yeah, because I didn't stop because I see myself, having that, able to do that. And when we see something that we like, I remember seeing some of the athletes where I train with, they're able to like doing certain move. I'm like, oh, I get so excited. And when everybody, I was just like, oh, it's hard, it's hard. And when you're getting excited, instead of like you see the promise of it instead of seeing the the challenges. And the same thing for when I was started with my self-discovery journey, right? I remember I see myself in the 60 years old. Before that, I had a broken mind and body, right? I see myself as my 60 years old and being gray and having the stick to walk around, right? And I'm fully healed. I'm so happy and fully healed. And that has been my belief, right? Either I'm gonna get there or die trying. And that give me so much more, I would say, energy, courage, and exactly the same excitement, right? The same thing that will help push through. Though I would say, for example, during the gym, it hurts, or I got hurt here, or it didn't happen as I wanted because I do this wrong or that wrong, and you're pushing through instead of staying in shame or staying like, oh, I could not do that. And with the martial arts, it's actually a little bit shorter, but with my self-discovery journey, it take over a decade. And it makes all the difference from the short term into the long term to really maintaining that. Remember, guys, the feelings, the energy of it all. Are you gonna allow the small things like how it's not gonna work, or the short-term challenges will stop you, or we allow your dream, which is actually you believe that you can do it, to push you through those tough moments. So yeah, and there are of course many more stories, and I know that um, yeah, my brother over here, Coach Heiko, have plenty to share with you guys as well. So
Well, first off, I want to thank you for sharing that because, first off, great, um, great ways to bring it up because you have the martial arts part, which is short term, right? Short term experience where you can rather quickly notice shifts happening, and then the long part, right? The long journey. And I think this is so important to recognize, especially now with New Year's resolutions and things, because usually we have this picture of like, oh, let's just say you want to go to the gym, you want to build some muscle, right? So you go and you train hard, you're feeling sore as F, and you're not seeing the results, right? You're 2 or 3 weeks and you look into the mirror and like nothing really changed. So you start doubting, right? Less conviction, more doubt. And this is when you start to crumble, right? Motivation drops. But I think you hit something much deeper there because it's not really about motivation, it's about belief. And as you said, like when you see yourself 60 and you believe you can be this person there, you had this drive, right? And even when something didn't work, shame was coming up, didn't matter, you were still following through because I find the belief in that is what makes the difference. It's what makes even you're either convinced you're gonna make it happen, you find a way to make it happen. It is possible to make it happen, or you're dreaming about it. And like we all know the story by now about Roger Bannister, right? Right? Who like he envisioned, he built this conviction inside of him that he can actually run faster than a 4 minute mile, which eventually he did. Nobody else believed it until he did it. And so once they started believing, it worked as well. And I've seen it in my own life. Same way where like with martial arts, for instance, right? Where I had no, like a friend of mine came to me like, "Hey, you want to learn Wing Chun?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what it is, right?" But then, hey, he invited me to a lesson. I met my future Sifu, and like immediately, like I was asking him, like, "I don't even know what it is. Can you like, demonstrate something, show me something?" And like he immediately went into action with me. So it was not just showing something, but actually I got to feel what it's like, and I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm in." And so I already had this picture, this dream where I wanted to get into. And based on the friends that were in the circle who were already in a couple of months, some 2 years, I can then also already see the milestones, kind of predict where you're going to be in which kind of time frame, which then made me convinced that I could get there. And eventually I would get it so much into working towards that, building myself up, the techniques and everything, and actually progressing faster than most of them because I was just full in, right? Even if I was tired, didn't feel like it, or maybe something was a bit hurt, or like I just still went into it because I developed this inner passion, this drive, this energy, as you said. And yeah, I'm curious. Like, I mean, you're the energy guy, so maybe you can explore more or share with us more about this energy and how it's driving us and where it's coming from.
The energy itself, it is from our, depending on where we want to take it, right? For me, I make it more of a to the ground part, which is, the feelings that we have, and it's constant. We creating those emotion, and those emotions, they are the driving force. We created them, and it's helped us to do certain things, take a certain action, right? For me, I remember, and some, it's kind of funny to share this story, but two actions we learn, right? I remember when I first started with wushu, what I'm still practicing to this day, wushu and tai chi. When I was so driven, right? So I just like do the stretching, and because we want to be flexible to do many other things, and I was so driven. I stretch and become too much, and I of course gonna be tough on walking, and sometimes those injury, it takes longer to recover. And then with that, later on I discover the balance in that, right? The balance in, hang on, we I don't need to go that far. You discover your own, how to say it, your own
Like the
line.
sweet spot.
The sweet spot, yeah, yeah. And with that, I remember like, I think years later, when I starting with focusing on the stretching again, when I returned from some break, I think a year or two break, and then I was able to get into the split, within 3 to 4 weeks, and it was like, man, that's actually pretty cool. From the place to total stiffness, I could barely raise my feet, right? Raise my leg, and I have that injury the other time, and now I can just do this. And the energy that we have from that, stemming from having the clear vision. I know I can do this from the place of knowing, from the place of conviction, knowing that we can do it, and it's gonna feel invincible. You guys ever had a feelings of, you know what? I don't care. It doesn't matter what you say. I know it's right. I know it's true. And from that place of knowing that is true, that is right, right? For the growth for yourself, a certain dream that you want to achieve. From that place of invincibilities, I mean, you become unstoppable. And when something gets in the way, you allow that to pave way right, for your next action, right? And I and that is how I kind of discover further the sweet spot to be able to do that, like literally within 3 weeks. And for me, 3 to 4 weeks. And when I was sharing that, right, with some of my friends later on, literally seeing the look in the face is very, very cool. And I bet there are many others, right? I bet there are many others that was able to do that as well. For me, with the friends I talk with, it was such a satisfying feelings actually. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's the beauty when you get to reap the rewards of what you practice for, right? And this
yeah.
is it is a really great example, and I love how you shared it also with finding the sweet spot, not just going too much. It was something that I always said. I'm an action taker. Take action, less thinking, more action. Like I'm Aries, right from the horoscope, so I'm basically with my head through the wall.
Okay.
And sometimes I wish like, okay, it could have slowed down, think before I actually do something, and find that sweet spot so that I can avoid being hurt or something like that, right? But I also love what you shared about this inner knowing and where you get the feeling of like I'm invincible, because to me this is really the essence, or like really the essence of truth, right? Coming to that part where when you have this inner knowing, when you have this pure conviction, this is when you literally become invincible. And like, no matter how long something takes, what you have to go through to achieve something, you're going to get there. This is an unlimited drive. And I know this because I've lived it, where like my dream back in the day was, traveling the world. I saw Lord of the Rings, saw the amazing landscape, figured out that New Zealand exists. Be honest, I didn't know it before. And but it became my dream to go there, to explore it and all these kind of things. But I was stuck because back then I was dreaming about it. Didn't have the really belief that I could make it happen because I don't have the financials, I don't have this, but lots of limitations coming up. I have my secure job, can't leave my job, and I don't just want to go there for like 2-3 weeks of vacation a year. I want to take my time. And so for a long time I basically didn't do much. But at some point I built myself, I worked on myself believe, my capabilities. And I put myself in the situation where I would build up things that were uncomfortable and didn't really know how to do it or if I could do it. But I would put myself in there building up, and I built that belief about myself that I can figure things out, that I can get to a certain point. And even made a test run where we went to the UK for half a year, because it wasn't very far from Germany. You can basically fly there in like 2 hours or something like that. So worst things, we can just fly back. Everything is good. New Zealand is a different topic though, with the distance. But so yeah, we tested it, everything we got, and just build it, this conviction. Like it wasn't just there. I wasn't just like, hey, I can do this. No, I built it up, and it took me years. It took me 15 years to get to this point. But and here's the thing: from actually doing it, really stepping into my dream and started living in, there was really when this feeling of invincibility really came up. And I quickly realized that I don't want to go back to my old life. Like this is what I was told I should live like, right? Who we all are like, hey, get your job, work hard, make a family, have a happy life. And that's basically it. Like, no, like I really noticed like there's this part of me that loves adventure, that wants to explore the world. I want to continue doing it. And so then the next things came up. We're like, okay, how can I do this? I need to, get visa for other countries to stay longer. I want to build an online business so that I can actually, get the finances as I'm traveling, and so many things. And I didn't know how to do them. Like I didn't have the skills or anything to do that. But because I did the pre-work and because I stepped into my dream, the dream grew, but my conviction grew as well. So I knew I could figure it out. And so same thing as before, I took the steps, get out of my comfort zone, building that up. And the reason why I'm sharing that is because along the way, there were so many things that were overwhelming. They were super hard, right? Like I was trying to get a visa in a different country. Then there were problems with that, right? Almost lost my job um, because of that, which was there to pay my bills, and I didn't even have the money to fly back to Germany in worst case would happen. And building online businesses, stepping into there, learning completely new skills and everything. There was so much involved, so many times where someone pulled the rug under my feet, but I always had this conviction, and this is what got me through. Whether that's, as you said before, where shame is coming up, where you feel embarrassed, where you feel like you're humiliating yourself, or maybe you get hurt by someone, or physically, or whatever kind of challenges came up. There's a whole list of them. That conviction brought me through this, and this is why I'm saying, like, motivation, throw it out of the window. You don't need it. When you have conviction, then discipline follows like that. Taking action follows like that. Because when you have conviction, you won't procrastinate, because as you said before, you just know you can find a way. And this inner drive, this passion will get you there. If you feel like this is not there, and, like, if you're having more, you're procrastinating more something, then there's a lack of conviction there. Then it's more dream rather than a conviction. And the focus should be, how can I move it towards there? Because at the end, it comes to you. Like, you're making the decision, you're taking the action, you're asking or allowing yourself to receive help. So the major key point is you. I don't know what is your experience, or what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, the major key point is you. It really is you guys. Um, you decide, right? All of you decide. Either you're going to continue something or you're stopping something, right? Either after you hit the line, and remember, guys, life is a season. There's seasons in everything, right? And there are stages of growth in there as well. When you, depending on how much risk you take or how much action you take, it could become like, as for me, literally, so many things happen as I take so much action, like from, like knee injury to, elbow, from everything, so many things. And when you, the further you push, right, the faster you hit the plateau as well, the ceiling, as I would say. And when you hit those places, remember your convictions, right? Remember that you're also human, and that is actually a pretty good thing that you discover those places. As when I'm going to stretch and I could barely walk afterward, or I injure something on
I
myself.
would have loved to see that.
Oh man, it kind of looks very weird. So yeah, and remember that is human, and we all face that. And the point is that when you face those things, right, no matter how fast, how often, right, or how few, that you get up again, that you remember, hey, it could happen, right? Pick yourself up, find out, right, what else is here, right? What can I do? And connecting to that conviction again. And that sometimes it take, I don't know, maybe a few seconds, sometimes take a few weeks, maybe a few days. I don't know. We all is or are on our journey. So I would say keep going, right? And I share your destiny and share your gift with the world, because it's too important to, well, to leave it hanging there.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that and bringing also this kind of energy into this conversation. Because it's right. Like, we all face these things, and you will have low moments. It will always be there. Like, I don't just want to sound like, oh, I'm convinced, I just push through all the time and everything is fine. Of course not. Of course, there are times when, like, oh my god, like, trying to figure things out. Or, like, I remember when I was hurt and I couldn't exercise back in the time, where that was like very, very important part of my life, on my daily life. I got into depression, because, like, there was like a part of me was missing that I couldn't live out until I healed. And so I think this is very important to realize. And also, I find this also a great opportunity, because I've learned that, especially in those moments, right, coming back to, the essence of truth, like, it's up to you, especially in those moments when depression hits you, when frustration hits you, when, like, there's so much weight, so much overwhelm with everything that's going on. This is the moment where you can really step up, where you can really define yourself. Because the decision you're making, how you're dealing with those moments, determines so much. This is like, when you're building your muscle in the gym and you hit your last 2 to 3 reps where the biggest growth is happening. This is exactly such a point. But this is the opportunity is like, usually it's hard to create such a point, and like your daily real life. It's not like you go into the gym, you put your reps in and you have this growth stimulation. In life with such things, sometimes life just has to happen, because if you consciously put yourself out of your comfort zone, you're still in control. But when these things are happening and you're feeling out of control, this is when the real test is happening. And this is when you really can step up. And really talking about stepping into a new part of yourself, your identity of yourself. Because this is where you make a reference that you can always rely on. Where, like, I went through this situation because of that, now I can do this. But it's like, as you said before, with taking the risk, this is what actually teaches you to take risks, to take even bigger risks than before, because you learned, like, hey, I'm okay. Even if something goes wrong, I'm still okay. And, like, to me, the worst situation back then actually happened where we were in New Zealand, our car broke down, we couldn't go to our job anymore, we had no accommodation, we were literally sitting on the street. Worst scenario I ever imagined. And out of that, I grew into a completely different person, like from groundbreaking, where I literally shifted how I'm showing up for myself, how I'm communicating with other people. Because from the situation, there were so many things that happened because of the decisions I made back then, that just kept the ball rolling in a completely different direction. Because I had to choose: do I cut off, leave my dream behind, and go back to Germany into my old life, or do I effing get up, put whatever kind of work in I can possibly put out to get this thing, to turn this thing around, which I did, and then completely, like I said, I grew into a different person. Like, from this moment, I looked at challenges in a completely different way. And no matter how devastating a situation looks like, I can always look back to this moment and know, like, I overcame this. I found a way. I can do it now. And so it's okay to have those moments. And when you learn that in those moments to step up, you actually learn to embrace those moments. Because, like I said, you can't artificially create that. It just doesn't work, because as soon as you're kind of trying to structure it, you always have some form of control. It's those moments when you totally feel out of control where you can really step up. And I think I'm pretty sure you have a story about that too. I can just imagine, just even from you going from Vietnam to the Netherlands in a completely different environment, different language, not really being accepted by the peers that you were put in. Like, there was, I can only imagine what you went through, the decisions you had to make and everything. But I mean, better when you share it.
Well, there's so many stories to share about that. I mean, yeah. Uh, oh man, it's very true, what you just share. Because what I see in there is, as we when we are as a kid, right? How much do we know about the world? I would say nothing yet. We don't even speak the language yet, right? As a kid. And as we learn, as we facing those noises, we start to learn the language, and our world expand a little to connect with the other people. And afterward, after that, we started to learn to using the language to interacting with people and moving around, our world expanding a little bit more, and from one situation upon another, right? We get to learn more and more about the world. Like, is it something that we should eat, or is it something that we should, I would say, throw away, right? And so on. And the world expand further as we become, I would say, teenager, not kid anymore, but teenager, right? So we started to have our own personality, like having the ego and breaking free of the things around us, and we get to learn more and more. So in any of those ages, if we were to, just avoid or hiding away, which I did hide away for some time, not as a not as actually, is it? Something to think about actually. And when I say I hide away, it was in a moment when my mind and body broke down, and I couldn't go out of the house. I was too scared to go do grocery, or to choose a road, and that is where my world is starting to, how to say it,
Shrink.
shrinking, yeah, shrinking into the point that living inside my own body was painful. Well, now not anymore. I have a strong body now, stronger at least. Um, and so the same thing for coming from Vietnam to here. It giving me so much challenges in terms of languages, right? In terms of culture, in terms of health, the physical body of another human being. They are totally different. I mean, white skin, and they are blonde, right? And they are like very very bigger and higher than me too. So I mean, like everything is different. The houses. So to learn all of those, my world expanding, right? Slowly expanding, and it's not without challenges. And with that expanding, when it's become too much, and when we eat something, I love foods as a Vietnamese guy, we love foods. And when we eat too much, then our stomach will not be able to digest that, and that was the case for me. Everything at once, everything become too much, and without the right kind of, I would say, digestive system, become too much, I become sick. So yeah, so the same for all of us, right? Take in looking for that sweet spot, not too much, and slowly expanding from there. I'm not sure if I I think I went on a ramp over there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it totally makes sense, and I love that you shared it because as you were sharing it, I was looking for like the thing that I want to take out of this conversation, and I think you really hit the nail on the head with expansion because everything you shared, even at the beginning where you start learning words, right? You start then putting them together into sentences. You start learning communicating with others. Same for me, where like I tiptoed, I started getting out of the comfort zone, expanding my comfort zone, so to speak. Or like when you go to the gym, right? You're expanding your limits, and so really would say the key element here, if you want to build this really strong conviction that we were talking about, and turning your dream towards that, is expansion, expanding yourself. Because, like I said before, at the end, it comes down to your decisions, your actions, what you're making out of your life, right? And so, expansion is the key. And then also with what you shared before, like this balance where you're not stretching yourself too much that you're hurting yourself, you're finding the sweet spot. And it's not always easy, and it's a continuous journey. But this is the thing I really want to take out of this session today. Where like expansion, that's it for me.
Expansion. Yeah, I love that. Exactly. Oh my God, I sometimes I do how do you call it? Rambling, and I forgot the direction. And thank you so much for bringing it back there. And absolutely, expansion. We either gonna expand on our own, which is facing challenges, like doing things that allow us to grow so we can become more valuable, so that we can add value to life itself. Or, like if we don't do that, then life gonna bring that to us. Now, thinking about all of those time, right? Regression, right? Or weather, right? In the winter, and so on. Um, and many other things. Life will throw at you or at us um, things, and when we're strong enough, right, then we can take that. And if we're not strong enough, well, we're gonna struggle a little bit more. So by growing ourselves, we can help others grow as well. So with that expansion, it's really so important. And luckily, it was something that I learned in my journey. And yeah, so thank you for for helping out with that. And yeah, for me, I say the energy itself from that, it's being inspired by what you share, right? Become invincible. When you have that invincible driving force, feeling as if you are invincible, you can then do more things. You can take more risks. You can handle more things in that as well. And after that, finding that sweet spot or finding that line, and so on, and keep on expanding. And that's practically what it is. You don't need to stay stuck. You don't need to stay in the low level places. And know that it's a journey, and keep on moving forward, because the essence of truth is within you.
That is absolutely perfectly said, right? This is really, and like when you're really living your truth, this is when you have the conviction. This is when you're not letting the doubt and the limitations get you. And you said it perfectly. And I really want to thank you for that because, yeah, this is a perfect end for the session. And so I'm really curious for you guys. Like, what are your insights that you had? What are the stories that came up for you? What are the questions that you have? Because we are really curious about it and we read all your comments on the messages that you're sending to us because we want to co-create this space together with you. So whatever's coming up for you, please share it. Or if you even know somebody who's struggling with that and you think this could help them, feel free to share it with them. Because this is all like we are doing this for you guys, not for us. And so any kind of feedback, any insights would be very welcome to share. With that being said, though, I'm out. Looking forward to see you guys next time. And until then, remember who you are.
And remember the power of creation you possess, guy. All right. Have a great week ahead, and we see each other next time. Bye,
Take
guys.
care.